Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is the Breathe team from Idea Grant Cohort 15. I am Patrick Paul, here with my partner Justin Welsh. And in our presentation, we wanted to follow the process that it took for us to finally bring this product to action. So, we want to start with how we started. We started with a mission where we saw a world where mental health is destigmatized and where people have avenues to relieve and actively manage their stress, providing an open platform for our consumers and customers to speak on an open level. Some of the things that motivated us were the idea of shameless stress relief and productive relaxation, while also prioritizing mental health and providing a calm environment for people. And some of the questions that we needed to ask ourselves were how can relaxation invigorate some of the senses? What do we want people to see in us? What the gold standard is in quality? And how we could have made it our own. And with our idea generation, what we did was take common practices such as aromatherapy combined with modern techniques used in weighted blankets to provide users with a customizable, controllable experience. With our goals and expectations, we aim to create a fully functional scented weighted blanket that provides the user with full autonomy over their experience with our product. How we aimed to achieve this was to use a semi-permeable membrane that prevented liquid from seeping through and so that you could still smell the oil inside. With cleanable and refillable sections with a lasting smell and handles that provide more control and immersion, you're feeling like you're on a soft quilted cloud.
So now we're going to go into the research we conducted. So our research methods included broad interviews from random people, but also distributing weighted blankets to get feedback from several groups. So the first of these was we asked people of different genders, ages, and more what their experience was with or without blankets. And we used this data specifically to discern what fabric, weight, and features were the most ideal. So from these studies, we found that although men and women both enjoyed the blanket, women were most likely to buy them or give them as gifts. We also found that older participants were often uncomfortable and not as open to the ideas of buying these blankets as opposed to younger people. We found that weighted blankets could be more comfortable in positions other than just laying down. And finally, we found that any weight past 12 pounds was deemed either too heavy or too warm by a lot of our consumers. So from there, we're going to get into our creative process and testing. So we split our construction up into three different sections. The first of which is the design section. And in this section, we put all of our data to use. So we discerned that our blanket was going to be minky and cotton fabric weighing up to 12 pounds. Furthermore, we decided on a grid pattern for sewing the blanket for equal weight bead distribution. From there, we moved to our application where we put our method to use. We developed a housing portion at the top of our grid sewing for our essential oils paired with aroma beads. This was located near the head to increase the smellability by users using the blanket. This is also to not disrupt the sewing process. Furthermore, we performed at-home experiments to determine if the aroma beads paired with Gore-Tex fabric could be gas permeable, liquid impermeable, which basically means that you could smell it without it leaking. And finally, we had our implementation. This is where everything came together. This surmise of our ideal fabrics, sewing methods, weighing methods, and more. And one challenge we faced here was that due to size constraints in our sewing machine, we could not fully sew it. However, due to pivoting and changing the pattern, we were able to effectively sew this project. So here's two images of our experimentations with the aroma. We tried to create a vacuum with the room we were in by sliding towels under the door and making sure that the scent would properly secrete. So this finally leads us to the final product. For future implications, we're for ourselves hoping to do this in more products, but also improve the method at which we did this. But we would also like to spread this to existing companies and future entrepreneurs. We'd like to include stress relief in all of their projects so that it helps remove the stigma around mental health and people being shamed for it. So for us, this was an introspective journey. We learned a lot about engineering that isn't taught in courses, but we also learned a lot about stress relief, the need for shameless stress relief, and the overall build, measure, learn feedback loop. And finally, here's a picture of our finalized project. Again, we learned about stress relief, we learned about failure and success, and the value of trial and error in making a product such as this. Thank you.